I feel like a broken record player because I keep on saying the same thing. I keep on saying the same thing. I don't know. I don't know what you expect from me. I keep on saying the same thing because my job is to analyze and report what's happening, and the same thing just keeps happening. So we're gonna keep analyzing the same thing and go deeper and deeper into why it keeps happening. I made a video on Monday that Cathie Wood bought about 442,000 shares of Palantir. And then either on Tuesday or Wednesday, I believe it was on Tuesday, she bought another 189,000 shares of Palantir. And I didn't make a video on it because I was like, it's good, but it's like, all right, whatever. She made 189,000 shares. I can go talk about something else. Last night, on Thursday, she bought another 430,000 shares of Palantir. So now we're going to analyze this because this is getting interesting. My hair is crazy right now. You could say my hair is insane. And the definition of insanity, I believe Albert Einstein said this. If he didn't say this, I'm going to get grilled in the comments. But I believe he said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And I don't think someone would be buying the same stock over and over and over again without expecting a different result than what's been currently happening, which is instead of it going down, one day it goes up. I think Cathie is really, really into the price action. And when I mean into the price action, I think she's really loving the fact that the price is getting so low to the point where it's becoming so egregiously undervalued that she's having big buys. I mean, 442,000, 189,000, 440,000. These are huge buys for this stock. Now, is it big to the relevant to the size of her entire fund? No, but you got to remember she already has upwards of $1 billion of this stock, right? So it's like, it's kind of like, all right, you bought, you're down a significant amount, and you just keep on adding, even though you have a sizable position, right? At some point, you got to just wait till it gets back up. Because you already have a sizable position and because you want that position to be even more sizable, these buys intrinsically become more qualitatively important simply because they're adding to a very strong position. Now, here are my thoughts on this. I think two things. I'll do the first thing. The first thing in terms of my conservativeness on this. I still don't know if this is the right time to buy, to be honest. This is not financial advice. This is just my opinion. But the Fed hasn't raised interest rates yet. They've just said the minutes that they're thinking of raising interest rates. So it's really interesting to me, and I need to know more about ETFs and fund managers and like investing in general for like why she's buying at this price. Because if, let's say it went from 20 or it went from, like 18 to the low 16s just off the Fed's minutes. And I did a video on that a couple days ago, where they said they were going to raise interest rates. Interest rates being raised is obviously bad for high growth tech stocks because the cost of borrowing money becomes much more expensive. So investors transition their money into stocks that don't have to worry about profits because they're stable companies. They're not going after market share, so they're not like super inclined to go get more money, right? They're less risky assets in times of rising in interest rates to combat inflation. So if it dropped that hard, like what happens when the Fed actually raises interest rates? Like presumably, like logically speaking, if it goes from 18 to 16 on the thought of launching interest rates. Remember, they didn't make them higher yet. The Fed did not actually institute a policy. They just said what they were thinking of doing. When they actually do it, does it get worse? Now, there's two things I think she may be thinking about. I think she may be thinking that the price of that is already baked in because at some level, prices do get egregiously low. So there is a world in which it just can't keep going lower, right? Because there's too many investors at that point that start buying it at that bottom price. That's what we mean when a stock hits the bottom. And I think she is starting to think that 16 is a very, very strong bottom for Palantir. And even if the Fed were to release interest rates, because it's already so low, it's just not going to affect it even more, especially because the entire market kind of sold off when this happened. Now, is she right on that? I don't know. Like, I really don't know. I haven't been around for a bear market in my life enough to know what the reality is from the perception of how the market reacts to something bad happening, like interest rates hikes, and the actual reality of interest rates going up and how the market is going to react to that. So it's going to be a new event for me in 2022 to actually see what happens. So that's the first thing. That's why I'm a little bit more hesitant to buy as well, because I'm like, I don't know if it's going to go lower. And I fully expect it to go lower if the interest rates are announced, just given the nature of how it reacts. But there may be some principles. Obviously, she's been doing this for a lot more time than me, in which she knows how these cycles operate, and she knows that is the right time to buy. Or she's just like, if it goes lower, then I'm just going to keep buying, right? That's just her. That might be her mentality as a portfolio manager for these types of stocks. So that's the first thing. The second thing, and a really, really important thing to understand here, is either she's going to be incredibly right, like incredibly right, or she's going to be dead wrong. And this is the interesting part about life. Life is a game. Life's a game. And the people who win this game, to me, are not the most skilled people, not the most talented people, not the people that play by the rules, not the people that have the best education, but it's people that have conviction. That's it. People that have conviction. And the reason I sleep well at night, even though some of my stocks are down, and it's going to be a lesson for me throughout the entirety of my life, is because I have conviction. You know, I can sleep well at night knowing I'm down $10,000 because I genuinely don't care, because I know I have conviction. I know that I've put my money into something that I believe is going to appreciate in value, and I just have to be patient. So, you know, it's not hard to sleep at night. It's really not. But that's only if the conviction is high. I've been in stocks before where I've been down and the conviction was very, low. And when you're down that much money on something that you don't really know about, like an idiot investing in stuff you don't know about, that you haven't done the due diligence around, then it's hard to sleep at night. Those are some of the worst nights. So I think it's very important to have that conviction. And, with these purchases, and she's buying all of her other stocks as well, Robinhood and Zoom and Roblox and Teladoc and Roku. I mean, she's purchasing big orders of this portfolio of stocks that she believes are going to win. And it's such an interesting dynamic that's happening in the market right now, because it's like these stocks are kind of like being shunned away from traditional investors. Because they don't like her. They don't like that she's just, completely destroying the market, and she has destroyed the market for the past couple of years. I think they don't like her arrogance and her for someone to say we're going to compound 40% annualized return year after year over the next 5 years. I mean, there's a lot of chutzpah you got to have to be able to do that. And I think a lot of fund managers that can't even get close to that number are probably like, who does she think she is, saying that she's going to do this publicly? And as a result, they kind of hate her stocks for doing that, because if she does pull it off, then it makes those fund managers look like trash, look like literal trash if she's able to do it. So I think there's a little bit of resentment going on there. And number three, I think that they are coming from a conservative mindset, which is understandable, right? They're coming from a more value investing standpoint, a more let's create internal risks within our portfolio and hedge our bets in case something happens so that we're able to not overexpose ourselves to certain scenarios. And she's like, screw that. She's like, I don't care about none of that. She's like, I have a belief on this company. I have a belief Palantir is going to become one of the most powerful software companies in the world, going to transform the world's data. I am buying it. I believe that Teladoc is going to fundamentally change healthcare forever. I am buying it. I have a belief that Zoom is going to be end-to-end communications. I am buying it. Now, some of those stocks I don't know about. So like I haven't bought Teladoc because I literally don't know what they do, right? I have to do more research on them as well. But nonetheless, she has conviction, right? And just because you have conviction doesn't mean you're going to be right. That's the point I want to get across. Just because you have conviction does not mean you are going to be right. But having conviction does mean that you have a strategy. And when you have a strategy, your probability for success is simply more likely than other things. Because when you know what you want to do and then you execute against doing it, there is a chance of failure. I mean, of course there's a chance of failure, right? I have a startup right now. I have a lot of conviction in what we're doing. I think we can really pull it off. I think we can really do it. But is there like a 99% chance of failure? Of course. But there's not even a 1% chance of success unless I have the conviction to understand the reason why I started the startup, the reason why I think there's elements and variables in place and market dynamics for me to be able to execute on the startup, and my own belief on me and my team to be able to do the things that we know we have to do in order to make it successful. I have conviction. And until you get conviction on anything you're trying to do in life, it becomes incredibly difficult to have the confidence and courage to wake up and go do it, because then you're stuck in this bubble of what other people think about you. And it's kind of like this, it's this weird esoteric experience. It's this weird, like out of body surreal experience when you like are actually doing something that you said you were going to do. And when you're in that experience, it's not a really good experience, because then you're just like clouded with the world's judgment of like, oh my God, I'm actually here. I'm doing this. I'm not just, in my job as a 9 to 5, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm actually doing the thing that I wanted to do. It's a very scary feeling, because you realize you are the version of yourself that you said you would be, and unless you have conviction that that version of yourself can actually be successful, can actually do the things that you've imagined and dreamed of, then you're never going to get there. And I think with Cathie, she has this conviction about these portfolio of stocks, which she either is going to be right on all of them or she's going to be right on a couple of them. But in the past, she's proven it with Tesla. And either that was a fluke or either that was a lot of due diligence in terms of her being able to come up with the right analysis. I did a video on Wright's Law, I'll put it in the description, which was really the scientifical way for her to come up with the analysis for why in 2016 Tesla was going to go to 4,000, and she was right about it. And they kind of documented their whole process in doing that analysis. And I think they're doing that same analysis for a lot of other stocks, including Palantir. So Cathie Wood buys 430,000 more shares of Palantir. It's one of only two other stocks that is across all 6 of her family of ETFs. She has upwards of $1 billion of the stock. She's buying it in the mid 16s at this point. At least that's what it was yesterday. We will see what happens, but no matter what, she has conviction that this is going to work, and it'll be fun to see if it does. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Have you been buying the dip? Let me know your thoughts and concerns about what's going on in the market. What other stocks have you guys been buying? Look forward to reading the comments. I'll see you in the next one.